All right, guys, it's time for another day, 90 Day Fiance recap chat. And this time it's 90 Day The Other Way. 90 Day Fiance is a reality show that airs on TLC where it follows couples, real life couples. One is from the US, one from another country. We follow their relationship, the ups and downs, on top of the issues of, cultural differences, language barriers, and trying to get that marriage license, the K1 visas, a 90-day process. So that's why they call it 90 Day Fiance. All right, so let's get into these couples. We have Dempsey and Statler. They are a same sex couple, and Statler's been having panic attacks and a lot of issues like that, and Dempsey just does not get it. And it's like, Statler, you're being very rude during these panic attacks, and I can't deal with you. I can't handle you. And she almost broke up with her. So they're trying to recover from this as they finally get off of the ferry boat, which is what was giving her a panic attack. And they're now in Paris, France. They go stop and get a caricature done. And as they're getting this caricature done of themselves, they start talking. And, she says, Dempsey's like, well, I would like to get married with you. That's my goal for our relationship. You make me laugh. You make me feel safe. And, Statler kind of jokes around about the scenario. It's like, maybe like in, I think Dempsey said 1 year and Statler's like 3 or 10 or something like that. Like, she's obviously not ready for marriage at this point, but one of the issues is that Dempsey can't handle the panic attacks. And even though she did kind of get over it after they argued about it, she's like, well, she needs to be a little bit more understanding and have to be able to handle this on a regular basis, because this is a part of my life. Panic attacks, anxiety. I believe she also has autism, and just different scenarios that Statler deals with. And I guess she needs a partner that's going to be understanding of that and kind of work with her. But, at this time, they are back in their happy mood. There's ups and downs between them. And this seems like a yo-yo or a roller coaster scenario for them. Because now they're talking about marriage, and they'll think they'll be happy together and all of this. And one thing that stood out to me is with Dempsey, when the producers were talking to Dempsey about, okay, would you really marry Statler? And she was like, yes, if she asked me. So I was like, okay, this is the same sex couple here. And why, honestly, is it her place to ask you? I'm not really sure what their roles are. And I assume that, I guess, she's playing the more masculine role, because I don't know why she assumes Statler should be the one to ask. Even though Statler kind of joked around and said, are you going to propose to me? So I'm not really sure how that scenario works out. But Dempsey's like, if she asked me, yes, I'd be up for marriage. But she also mentioned that one of Statler's kinks is to provide and take care of her partner. So I don't know if Statler is taking the more masculine role in this relationship or not. But it seems like it's in that scenario, especially when she said, if she asked me, then I would get married. I really can't really say how you should act and react when you're in a same-sex relationship and whose responsibility it is. I mean, I really can't say. I don't have experience with those scenarios, so whatever I say, some people may not like what I say, or say, you're not qualified to say that. So I'm not going to really say too much about it, but I just thought it was interesting that she said, this is kind of her responsibility to ask. Like, okay, I guess she's the breadwinner. I guess she's taking the more masculine role in their relationship. But we'll see how things go as the roller coaster continues with Dempsey and Statler. All right, Shekinah and Sarper. Shekinah kind of put Sarper through a lot because he put her through a lot. So she's like, okay, you have to do these things to redeem yourself. So he takes it upon himself to get rid of some of the things from his past relationships. And they do a therapy session together. So she kind of says, you know what, I'm going to move back in with you, Serper, because she was in a hotel for a while because of the incident of him snatching her phone and some of her extensions came out. So she's like, this was not cool, was not a safe feeling that I'm having. So she moved. Now she's back because he's done a lot to try to redeem himself. And when she gets back to his place, she's like, well, have you done anything, to kind of improve yourself in this situation so we can move forward in our relationship? And he was like, I scheduled my own therapy session. And she's like, oh, really? And she's like, I call bull on this because, he's the type of person that if he does something that he thinks is impressive, he's going to like put it in her face and let her know that, hey, I did this. But the fact that he waits till she's back at the apartment and then says, I scheduled this session for myself. And she kept questioning him and he finally just said, no, I really didn't do it. I'm not even sure why he lied about the scenario, but she kind of caught him in a lie. So now she doesn't trust him. Great. So there's another issue. And then he says, well, you're going to continue to scold me throughout this relationship. That kind of, what is this thing going to be? And you really shouldn't have to scold anyone. He really shouldn't be lying. To me, he is showing some childish behavior, and I understand why she's taking extra measures to try to keep him on track, and she's giving him another chance, so she wants things to work. But to me, he's still pretty immature, and I really do hope that he continues therapy because I think he needs it. They need it together. They definitely have some things to work on. And if there's anything I missed, guys, let me know. Email me at cbiztv@yahoo.com. That's cbiztv@yahoo.com. All right, so let's now go to Josh and Lily. Lily has brought her man Josh to China. She has her own business and company. She has a lot of money. She has this great house she built for her husband. And he's now in China. Money seems to be an issue that she continues to bring up, how expensive it is for their lifestyle. He feels bad about it because he can't work in her country and he's not working. So that's one of their issues that they continue to bring up. Intimacy, whether they love each other or not is always questioned. So his brother Jared comes to China. I think they're getting ready for the wedding that they're supposed to have there in China. They are married in the US, but now they have to be married. Not they have to, but they just wanted to do a ceremonial wedding in China. So Jared is there, and she's happy to see him again. They've met when she was in the States, and she, as well as Josh, say that Jared has helped them in their relationship, giving them advice. So I thought, that's really great, but it's a lot of pressure on Jared. They give him the house tour and he's impressed by the elevator music, what is it, 4 or 5 story house that they have. So I say for Jared, the pressure is on. Like, really, he has to be the middle person to their relationship. I mean, he doesn't have to, but it seems like they kind of rely on him a lot. And that will be a lot of pressure for me. So as the two brothers talk, they talk about some of the issues he has with Lily. And Jared says, they do have to work on better communication because they don't communicate well. They it comes off in a way where it's negative. So they're both unhappy at the end of the day. And also, I think Josh is like my brother. He, has seen all my relationships and kind of assesses, some of my issues. Again, that's a lot to put on anyone, much less a sibling. And I'm not sure if has qualifications to do this thing, but, he's doing it. But I don't know how he feels about it. At this time, he seems like he's working with it, but I know I would feel some type of way if I had to be the middle person in the relationship with concerning my relative. It's a lot to lean on somebody on those levels. And Jared says, Josh tends to leave when things are bad. And the family really wants him to stick it out and work this relationship out. I mean, he's married, um, and there are people that a lot of people do like to run away when relationships aren't working well. And it depends. If it's early in the relationship and you don't see a way to salvage it, it is better to walk away in the beginning. But you're like married now, so it's not that easy to walk away. Their situation and scenario, I'm pretty sure because they're long distance, they had a lot of online conversations and connections, but living day to day, they probably didn't have much of that experience. So that alone is kind of a deficit for them. But if you're in a marriage, it's till death do you part. You're going to have to work this out. Every person has an issue of some sort. They're going to bring it into that marriage. If it's something really extreme and deep and huge, it can be worked out. It may take therapy. It may take a lot, and it may take a lot out of that person. And it may be understandable if someone walks away. But if it's something that can be worked out and managed, then I think it's really worth the effort. At this point, I feel like they're both nagging each other. They're both questioning each other. And that's the biggest extent to their issues. If someone's cheating, if someone's like doing drugs or have a bad drug or gambling habit or alcohol, or if someone is abusive in a lot of different ways, because I don't think they're to the point of being verbally abusive, but if you're extremely abusive to that person, whether it be verbally or physically, these are like huge issues that I think you might want to walk out on. But other than that, I mean, I think that this can be worked out. I do believe it's somewhat of a language barrier, but I do believe that they just have a different personality clash. I think that she is more understanding than he realizes. So they go out to the night market, which sounds fun to me. And she said there's snakes, food and snakes. And she's like, snakes? She said, no, I mean snacks. So I thought that was funny that it's snakes at the night market. I'd like to see, I would be entertained to see about the snakes. I wouldn't want to eat a snake. Please don't put the snake on me. It sounded very entertaining, but I'd rather have the snack than the snake. But that was kind of a funny little slip of the tongue when she was explaining what the night market has. Then she kind of starts telling Jared about them fighting the other night, and he's like, you know what, you're ruining, the first night my brother's here by just, dumping all of this on him about us fighting. And she was like, well, he kept texting while we were at dinner. And I'm like, who are you texting? And he was like, I was messaging my family because my brother is coming up here. So she got upset that he kept messaging, and she left, went out to the car. I think he kept messaging until like 15 minutes into her being gone. He's like, oh, where is she? And found out she went to the car. So, hey, she may have just left him at the restaurant to pay the bill. But she's like, the bill at the restaurant was like $500 or something. I'm not sure what the denominations mean there. So he's like, oh, now, yeah, again, there she goes arguing about money. It's always about that with you. And he says she's always easily angered, easily picks a fight over every little thing. And she says, well, I understood that, you told me you were poor and I still married you anyway. So don't you understand that I love and care about you and want to be with you? But yeah, I kind of don't like the way that she said, you're poor. Like, I don't really think he's poor like that. Maybe because she has a lot. I'm assuming he's like probably middle class, but she's like, "You're poor and I'm still with you anyway." And to me, it feels like she's kind of holding that over his head, like, "Hey, I'm gonna get this poor guy because he has no other options." And maybe she has some insecurities about that. And it's like, well, I'll just buy love because I've had issues with love in the past. So let me get this poor guy who has no choice but to be with me. And she really technically has no choice in China. He can't work. He can't really leave her, at least while he's in China. I mean, he could get some family to send him money to send him back to the US if he wanted to. So he could leave, but in the local scenario of China, he really doesn't have anywhere to go. He needs to make some friends. But I don't want him to divorce her or anything like that. I just want to see what their issues are, because I do feel like on some level she's very insecure, and she just wants to be with someone that's not going to leave. So she's kind of using her money, I feel, in a way to draw people in, or this person in, or Josh in. And maybe she really loves him, but she still has her insecurities about herself, where she has to put money in the middle of it. And Josh is like, we continue to have these same arguments and they just feel stuck and they don't know how to get out of this rotation. So I'm hoping they can figure this out, because, Jared, the brother's like, this is a good deal that he has here. But is it that good when you have to be in that scenario, when you're always being questioned, when you can't enjoy the great so-called life that you have with your wife because there's always an issue? Is it really that good? All right, now lastly, we go with Inky and Corona. They take the cold plunge. It's really cold in Iceland. There's a famous, I believe, lake, ocean, or something. I don't know what it's called. One of those bodies of water. And he takes her there. He's like, the cold plunge is great. It's good for the joints. It's invigorating. When you get out, it's -4 Celsius. Come on. And she's like, he goes out there like it's willy-nilly, like it ain't nothing, like I do this every day type vibe. And she's like, blacks don't do this. So she's stereotyping all black people. And at this point, I'm on her side, because I wouldn't do that. I don't even get in water. So I'm on her side at this point. But black people could do anything. But again, I'm on her side at this time for this particular scenario. She squeals the whole time, getting in, like, and she I think she bends down a bit, like her legs and lower body gets in there. Then she stands up and she runs right back out real fast. She's like, my toes are numb. But the cool thing is that they go straight from this cold thing to the hot tub, so at least she can get warmed up right after. So I thought that was kind of cool, that was the other option. After the fact, as they're in the hot tub, he's like, are you okay? He counts her toes. Is everything still there? They're kind of having fun and joking. And then he asks her about the university. How did that go? And, she wants to be a midwife very much. And she finds out that, hey, she needs probably about 2.5 years of restarting everything she's done. She's actually built up a degree and some accolades, but here in Iceland, she basically has to start over, learn the language, all of that. So, he has the saying that he tells her, which means good things happen slow. He's very chill about it. She's running out of patience. She feels like he's a little bit too chill. Does he really care about her scenario and her dilemma? And, she says she feels she's even more into this relationship than he is. So she's just kind of questioning things. She's kind of panicked, and he's having a very chill vibe, and she's taking that as if he really doesn't care about the scenario. So I'm not really sure, his thoughts on everything, but we'll continue to see how deep he really is into this relationship. So that's it, guys. That's our recap chat. We'll talk more later. If you have any thoughts, comments, questions, email me at cbiztv@yahoo.com, where we talk faith, love, and trends. This is Irene. All the best, and God bless.